Are back. It is Friday. I am Brian Brake. I hope you're not Brian Brake. Let me see. How do I hope you're having a good Friday or had a good week. Um, it's it, it it's been a lot. It's been a lot this week. It's not been bad. It's just there's a lot, and my weekend is still going because we got to pack up kitchen. I got to break down the office here because sometime next week they're painting. So those of you who are aware of our situation here, the colors back here are going to be a nice pale drab gray slash, I don't know what color we're using there, what hex code it is, but we're going to make that happen. But yeah, thanks to everybody for coming out. And scroll up, scroll up. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to be on for, well, as long as I can be. As you know, Friday is our Golang time. So those of you learning Golang, hope you will join and turn in your, warm up your VS Code in your W3 schools and get ready for some good fun times to be had. Um, I'm going to talk first. There's something. Okay, so most of you who follow the stream know that I'm one second, let me make sure I'm streaming on the okay, so the God's damn it. Okay, so the stream is running on LinkedIn. Or streaming. It's about 10-second delay there. Oh, hey, we're on the same path, getting out, painting. Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations to Beta Wolf. Beta Wolf is building that generational wealth real sweetly by getting himself a house. So congratulations, Beta Wolf. You know you're making it happen, and it's great to see you making that happen. So I'm gonna give you a hall pass, Beta Wolf, if you want to. Go pack, go pack, go pack, because you're going to underestimate and over need like tons of boxes. So go pack. If you want to just listen to my dulcet tones on the screen here as I'm going through the Golang, that's cool. But yeah, go pack, good sir, and make sure that you and your sig other and your dog is going to be okay. So, um, but yeah, so good times. Glad everybody's able to be here with us today. And I have been burning CDs like a mofo. I've got another, I don't know, couple of hundred CDs, music CDs from God knows where, built up over the last 25 years. Um, we're getting near the end of that. Haha, that's the goal. Listen to you while you're packing and light load. Yeah. Yeah, moving, as I've found with software development's an iterative process. So don't burn yourself out doing everything at once. If we'd have tried to start doing this in the end of April or what have you, or closer, if we'd have started doing it now instead of 2 and 3 weeks ago, then it would have been painful. But yeah, we're getting down to it as well. We're going to be showing our house in a couple of weeks. So, all right, taking the entire month to move. Yeah, don't I have an EV, so I'm not wasting a ton of gas. But yeah, try to reduce your trips. Try to take over what you absolutely don't need. And actually, it's a good time to maybe do a junk run if that's something you can do. Or e-cycle whatever you can. Found out. Let me see. What was it? At least in the Seattle area, there is a. What did he say? Best Buy will take certain things. If you have things like paint, like Ace Hardware, we have an Ace Hardware here in Seattle, or in North Bend. North Bend is near where I live. They'll take like 10 gallons of paint. Um, I can't wait for U-Haul EVs. Yeah, me neither. Well, I guess I can because it's going to be painful if you're trying to do a long distance move. But across town's not too awful. Um, but so yeah, there's different places now that will take e-cycled items. There's an Asurion place, Asurion, which is like the when you buy stuff on Amazon, speaking of Amazon, uh, you can get like insurance through them or whatever, and they'll replace it. But Amazon will also do trade-ins. I had several devices, kind of like this iPod, which we found during packing or depacking or that we're not going to use it. And so, going to hunt up the model numbers for it, and they'll give you money. So, like, I had a Surface 3 that I didn't know what to do with, and I didn't want to throw it out with a big battery and everything. Amazon gave me 25 bucks for Surface Pro 3. I'm not expecting a ton of money out of it, but it's better than tossing it in the trash. I had a couple Kindles, which they actually gave me $75 for one of the little Kindle Oases. They gave me five for the Kindle DX, and it was like, whatever. But you could take them down to the Asurian store that exists near you. Maybe there's one in Issaquah. So if you have devices and you're in the Seattle area, they have one at least in Issaquah. Yeah, wherever your particular city is or nearest city, you might want to look that up. Amazon will also give you the opportunity to ship it to them. They give you a packing slip and stuff. So, if you've got a phone or whatever from, 2019 that you didn't use for trade-in, you can go on Amazon's site and they'll give you a gift card. So I don't know if it's something you are okay with. Um, hey, Swaba, what's up? Let me disable my preview. I think I'm busting up here. My kids have been bringing me disposable vapes they find in parking lots so I can pull the lithium ion batteries out for recycling. Wow. Wow, I didn't yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good idea. I mean, yeah, that's definitely batteries that you want to if you get enough of them, you could build yourself an EV. I don't know if they're 18 like 960s or whatever, but you get enough of them, you could probably create you a nice battery pack or something like that. Yeah, I didn't know disposable vapes were a thing. Hey, Walt. Hey, CPO Parker. Yeah, I had no idea either. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. So, um, anyway, oh, good, it's burning. Okay, I have a couple CDs that just will not burn properly, and I got to tell you, the Samsung DVD burner or Blu-ray burner that I have is doing a lot of overtime. It's done about 500 CDs of audio right now, so it's pretty good. So I do the classes with Harvard. One of the things, and let me make sure that looks pretty, pretty-ish. I'm planning on putting on some music later when we do Golang, so I just wanted to give a shout out to the Chill Hop Music folks to make sure that everything's fine. Um, Lithium mining is just finding disposable vapes on the floor. Yeah, surprisingly, I did not realize how bad, not bad, but how environmentally unfriendly harvesting lithium is for the batteries that we're using in our EVs, not necessarily disposal of said EVs later on. So yeah, it's kind of rough. But so I'm doing classes with Harvard, and I did a I'm doing leadership principles. So it's the syllabus is one that here's some of the stuff that comes up with it. So I had to do two videos in this one, and I think there's an optional third video later on. But you talk about stepping into a new leadership role. You do different case studies. So there's Gonzalo. I think I talked about Mia Menz last Tuesday from Sodexo. Doing necessary change about shifting and self perception. Biggest argument against EVs is the amount of impact they cause on the world. Right, right, and it so Beta Wolf, in this case, it's like, you're either drilling for dinosaur carcasses in the North Atlantic on a big, nasty, smelly thing, deep water, horizon, Gulf of Mexico, uber pollution. It's six of one, half dozen of the other. It's where in the supply chain those things are, because then you're wasting dinosaur carcasses to ship more dinosaur carcass to your local dinosaur carcass, pump thingy. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot there, right? And I'm more than willing to pay my share if we can make it better. And actually, um, I just read that they have a room temperature semiconductor now. One of the that I would say, and they've actually peer reviewed the paper. It is a big deal. They figured out how to make a semiconductor at 69 degrees Fahrenheit and 140,000 psi, I think. which sounds like a lot. And they acknowledge that in the article. But let me see, where is it? Viable superconducting material. Yeah, there we go. Um, so doink, doink, doink. So they say University of Rochester researchers created superconducting material at a temperature and pressure low enough for practical applications. So they say it exhibits superconductivity at 69 degrees Fahrenheit, or let me see, 70 degrees is 68 degrees Fahrenheit is 20 degrees Celsius. So 20.2 degrees Celsius, and 10 kilobars, or 145,000 pounds per square inch, or PSI. And they say while that appears to be a high level PSI, they say that chip manufacturing incorporates internal chemical pressures that are even higher than that. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. They're talking about power grids that transmit electricity without loss of 200 million megawatt hours. I did not realize that they're losing that amount of. I went to Comic Con. I charged my car from 50 to 91%. It cost $1.28. Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, it's pretty cool. They're talking about rare earth elements. It uses luteum, I think. Luteum. No, they created two materials: carbonaceous sulfur hydride and yttrium superhydride, superconducting at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, but at 39 million psi, which is way out there, like super super bad. And then 26 psi. So the newest one is a whole level lower than, whole like magnitudes lower than what the previous psi was. So it's pretty cool. Go check that link out if you want to. I think they probably have a paper in Nature that has been blessed. Yeah, luteum nitrogen hydrogen compound was initially a lustrous blue color, and then when they put it in a diamond anvil, it went from blue to pink to super bright red, and they called it red matter based after the garbage 2019 MacGuffin in the 2009 Star Trek movie. But yeah, so they said they're looking at things like fusion power and being able to ignite superheated plasmas and the tokamaks and what have you. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. They said it will greatly accelerate progress in developing tokamak machines to achieve fusion. So I don't want to say the future is now, but it's looking pretty damn good, y'all. Um, loving that. And they said particularly exciting is the possibility of training machine learning algorithms with accumulated data from superconducting experimentation to predict other possible superconducting materials. So, hey, there's actually a legitimate use for, oh, sweet, Swaba, really? On the ITER project? Oh, that's so exciting. Can you imagine being on the ITER project right now with all the fusion stuff going on? Oh, it must be crazy fun. Structural engineer. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. He wasn't at the National Ignition Facility. But they got to be trading stories and trying to figure things out, even though ITER is a different kind of way of getting fusion. But, they could both easily leverage this technology. I'm hoping fairly soon to see real advances there. So, um, yeah, that's pretty awesome, Swaba. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, ITER is awesome. Yeah, south of France, the tokamaks, the hot donuts, if you will, I think is what they're calling it. But yeah, I remember I'd really like to go back to CERN. I think that'd be pretty fun. So, but yeah, I'd love to see large feats of human engineering like this that can make things happen. So, anyway, all right. So back to my leadership principles. There was a scenario in this class, and um, I was trying to find the particular scenario without including my. Come on, man. Because I want to read it, because my response to it was way different than what everyone else's response was. I actually had feedback saying, "Well, I wouldn't invite these folks to the party just yet," and I was like, depending on your level here, you definitely absolutely would. So let me see. Derby Foods. I think this is it right here. 4.3.2 Derby Foods. So let me pull that down. Okay, so here's the scenario. This is a case number which you can go pull up if you want to. They've adapted it for this. I'm assuming you have to pay for it, so just heads up if you want to go check out the HBA case number. So Mary's the vice president of consumer products at Derby Foods, has a situation on her hands. Earlier in the day, her colleague John, played by this guy, these are two actors, they're not real people, approached her. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not John, that's Simon, who's going to come up later in the show. John is somebody else, director of production. Approached her about an incident involving their coworker Simon, played by a guy with beard, and had noticed a slight imperfection. So Simon had noticed a slight imperfection on a chocolate cream filled donut shaped cupcake that became one of the official snack providers of the Winter X Games. Digital Warhead, thank you so much for being a subscriber. So John says that when Simon saw the new labels, there was some imperfection or something in the label, and it wasn't good enough. Simon apparently was enraged. He thought the X was not prominent enough. He charged down the production floor, yelled at the staff for producing an inferior product, exclaiming the production staff was ruining a potential long-term partnership. Mary, played by this person here, was perplexed. In many ways, Simon was a terrific employee. Stick with that point. When he had been an assistant brand manager for Derby Foods, he had designed and developed some ingenious co-branding opportunities and been successful in re-energizing the 150-year-old brand. His successful application of social media and marketing and advertising efforts made the brand relevant once again. So, other challenges. In addition to the one event, so there was a review. There was a brand review meeting. The meeting started well. Simon and his team were presenting ideas for leveraging co-branding opportunities with Winter X Games. As Simon was presenting financial analysis, there was a computational error on one of the slides. Yes, Digital Warhead, Mary is in fact the non-bearded woman. Yeah. So he was visibly embarrassed by the error. Simon apologized to the meeting attendants, saying there's no excuse for this error. It should not have happened. And turning red, the assistant brand manager who prepared the analysis took responsibility and apologized, stating that he would correct it. Simon then proceeded to accuse his team of dropping the ball, mind you, in the middle of the meeting with other brand managers, of dropping the ball, forgetting the details matter. And then he singled out Tim for the mistake, saying if representatives from the X Games were here, this definitely would have been a career-limiting move. Now, there was some other, so you can continue reading. So Mary noticed that Sam's team did not share the same level of enthusiasm. Yeah, no shit. You got dressed down during a meeting with other people in the room by your manager. Throughout the remainder of the team, they looked down and shuffled uncomfortably. It was clear they wanted the meeting to end. Simon hoped Simon's tirade with his brand new meeting was an isolated brand review meeting was an isolated incident, but John's comments pointed to a potentially more significant issue. She admired Simon's passion and creativity. She knew those attributes alone would not ensure long-term success in the company. She needed to give him some direct feedback and schedule a meeting with him the next day. So the discussion. Oh, so that what they're trying to talk about here for the content of core feedback is you be direct, identify specific behavior, state the impact, and on whom the impact was. So right now, so one of my exercises, which if you were in Discord or you happen to be John, person on the spot with the Twitch, you might have saw me accidentally put up a 1-minute video where I was reading Simon the Riot Act on this stuff. So, I fill in, they ask questions like, what was the problematic impact on who and who was affected by the behavior? How would you run the feedback session? What steps would you follow? Where would you hold the meeting? So I'd automatically, because I work where I work at, you bring in HR because this isn't just a one-off thing. This is a, series of issues. there's one is an incident, one is a problem, two is a trend, is starting to have a trend. And where I work at my current job, you bring in HR because you want to document this. Because as we've seen, and probably some of you who watch, who work at places, I don't know how it is at other places, but you don't berate people. You don't act unprofessional like that, especially a person who's a people manager in public about a computational error on a slide. I had real issues with this scenario, obviously. So let me see. So there's me. I'm all pretty and everything. I recorded this, and actually, this is what I put down here on the. No, that's the second one. All right. So I did make some. What they wanted to do was do an initial video, and then it's like once you get feedback and once you learn some more stuff, then you'd be like, well, record the video again, and what would you change? So I put in, I said, hey, hello, Simon, come in, take a seat. I'd like to talk to you about the meeting that just occurred. I believe you know our HR representative who's here as a third party to our discussion. I realize you're very invested in making sure we're putting out a quality product, but I've been hearing issues outside of our department of unprofessional behavior towards coworkers. I understand you were shouting and berating at production floor staff in the last meeting where you publicly berated your staff was embarrassing. This is at least the second example of your loss of control and appears to be a trend. This impacts your team's productivity, your credibility as a manager, and our department's performance is suffering as a result. My point on our department's performance is suffering as a result is his team is not going to be motivated anymore to, I mean, maybe not anymore, but they're not going to be motivated to perform at their current level. So, now as a result of his actions, 3 to 4 new people have decided I'm checked out. I'm checked out. We appreciate the work you're doing here. We expect professional behavior, and I want to understand if there's any issues. So I've added this part, and I want to understand if there's issues you're having that might have caused this recent behavior. Having consulted with HR, we need to document these events as well as discuss an improvement plan. But first, I'd like to know if you have any issues or have any comments about what I've said so far. You have any issues or work like that? I added these here at the bottom. Ideally, they want you to do more inquiry. The problem is I'm the only person in this room. And if I actually did how I wanted to do meetings, like where I'm asking questions about this stuff, I would expect a response. So I had to write this like, I'm just directly talking to the person. Obviously, you want to ask inquisitive questions. You want to say, hey, how do you think that meeting went yesterday? What was your overall thoughts on how that meeting went? And the examples that you get from so they show you 3 scenarios for Mary and Simon, and the third one is where she's asking questions and being inquisitive and stuff, and then you see his response, and he's like, "Okay, Mary, that's cool. Do you want to talk about some numbers and scheduling?" Eh, I did not find the scenario realistic at all, and I had one-on-one with my boss today, and I told him about this scenario, and I was like, I've been on the receiving end of a Simon tirade, especially one where I was told, um, where somebody had said, this is a resume generating event if you do something. I won't tell you the exact words because I'm fairly certain we closed that HR discussion about 6 months ago. But it was like, oh, there's if the representative from the X Games were here, this would have been a career limiting mood. You basically threatened a guy to fire him if that was a problem. You're threatening somebody with retaliation for something that, to be honest, could have been laughed away. Oh, hey, yeah, I mean, maybe depending on the egregiousness of the math error, if it was several $100 million versus whatever, um, but threatening somebody with their job is never acceptable. And my thought was, and I've seen this, you know, with friends who've been on friends on Twitter and at other places, including having been on the receiving end of this. This is not an isolated incident. You don't just blow up at people overnight. And this felt like this was a pattern of behavior. And if it's not documented, it needed to be documented. And that is why, At our organization, because I work at a FANG or a Mango, you will bring in HR and you will consult with other folks and you will talk to his team and say, do you want to file a complaint? Do you want to document that? At a minimum, we're going to document these issues. She should have talked to him right after she talked to John, but and they bring that up in the class as well. It's like, hey, sometimes we don't give feedback all the time, and now we're covering our ass. They said it in a nice way. We're covering our ass because we should have talked with them. Before it became a problem. When it's just it's something here. So I added the bit about the HR. We're going to have Gail from HR here or whatever the HR representative's name is. And I got a lot of feedback about the fact that, we shouldn't bring HR into this right now. And I was gobsmacked. So I asked my boss, I was like, hey, are we at a Mango or FANG or whatever you want to call it? Are we just doing things differently? Is it why aren't they doing that? And my boss had mentioned that he's like, look, we're a large company, we're a professional company, we want to document things, we want to make sure that there's no room for error, because in this scenario, Mary's talked to Simon great. It doesn't mention anything about her talking to his team members, other people in the organization. And if he's done this twice, he's probably done this about 10 to 15 other times and nobody has said anything or reported it, or this was the first time Mary has seen it, or maybe she's seen it before and didn't think about it and process it that way. But there is a pattern here for Simon. And this is not just because I told I was joking with my boss. I was like, if this happened on the same day, maybe Simon found out his significant other was, cheating on him and now he's at work and he's having a shitty day. And that is a one-time thing, but they didn't write it up as if it was like this on the same day these things happened. It felt more like this was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. So I considered it like that. You know, I'd love some chat. What would you have done in that case? From a management point of view, would you have called in HR? Would you, at a minimum, I would hope that people are documenting these things, because it's hard when you have somebody like Simon who may have had a bad day, or he may have a systemic issue where he needs to be counseled, or even worse. And because he's a good worker, does he get a pass? No, he doesn't. That was a rhetorical question. He should not get a pass. These things should be documented, because if he's allowed to be given a pass, he will continue doing it to the detriment of everyone in the organization. Swaba, refer to a psychiatrist. It seems like maybe he's got something going on, or outside work is a major stressor. Yeah. Swabi, yeah, we don't know. And that's why the inquisitive thing is expected, and that's the other issue I had with the exercise. Cause I'd be like, I'd love to sit down. Hey, how you doing, Simon? I thought, just, asking those diagnostic questions, if you will, the inquiry, if you will. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm sure that the fact that HR is here might give him some pause. So I definitely could have, explained a little bit more about some of that. But maybe including the HR representative is not necessarily the case. I think it would depend on how egregious it was. Maybe the HR representative doesn't need to necessarily be in the meeting, but maybe notifying HR, using the HR process to document that there was, I felt like that there should be a complaint levied, or cover that. Yeah, Swabby, you're right though. I mean, it could be like I said, or like you said, there's some major stress going on. Maybe he's got some chronic issues, or maybe he's got a family member with some kind of long-term thing. Maybe he got some bad news today. The way they wrote it up, though, it did not feel to me like it was a one-time thing. Like that day he came in just, eating dog shit and whatever. It felt more like that you know, at a minimum, I would document all of this, because if it happens again and it happens again and then it happens again, and you don't document the first two and you only document the one where it actually got really, really bad, then it's going to be like, oh, well, there were 15 other, chances where this was a problem and nobody documented it. Why not? So, um, yeah, I, being on the receiving end of that, yeah, these things go fast. When I was threatened with my own job at my current place, because if this document went up to somebody, he was going to uh, deal repercussions against me, which meant reprisal. That is a severe no-no at most good corporations, most good companies. So, but anyway, I just from a leadership point of view, you know, it's of these classes are great. I will tell you, these classes are great. They're definitely worth the time and effort and cost. I just found this exercise a little vanilla and not really indicative of every organization. And the feedback I got was actually like, you either don't work at an organization where that would be a thing where you document this stuff, or you'd give Simon a pass because he's a good worker, and that's some bullshit. So, um, Beta Wolf, I had a director from my last company try to throw me under the bus for his own BS, and thankfully my work was already well known. That's true. Yeah, and so yeah, Beta Wolf. My other thing was from Mary's point of view. If Simon is my direct and he treats his team like that, um, that's representative of me from Mary's point of view. I would have been embarrassed had my direct been in a meeting and berated his own team. Her being a VP, I'd have been like, that's not how we do things here. Joe Bob Billy's Tackle Shop, Global Incorporated. He got axed after some dirt came up on his actions prior to me. Huh. Well, there was probably, so Beta Wolf, like I said, there was probably a line of things. Holy hell. Um well, thank you from the She Network's Terror Dome. Oh my God. Um, hey y'all, glad to see you here. We're just hanging out on Friday talking about superconductors, viable room temperature semiconductors, and some leadership scenarios. So glad y'all could come and hang out with us today. I'm going to be doing some Golang stuff a little later. We're doing some beginner Golang stuff on Fridays, but we were talking about a scenario where a worker at one of the classes I was in, I don't believe it was a legitimate scenario. So you'll have to catch the VOD a little earlier, but we were talking about some of that as well. So document bad things. Uh, Make sure that you get a paper trail from a leadership point of view, and Mary's credibility as a manager would have probably been put into um, uh, doubt, or like her reputation might have, do you allow your people to treat other people like that? Is something that I was, holy crap. Thank you everybody for coming out and hanging out here. So yeah, hey Brave Traveler, what's up? How you doing? So yeah, it was just an interesting scenario. So yeah, we'll get that. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and do some Golang now. So let me see, where are we at right now in the Golang stuff? If you want to follow along with me, we're on the W3 Schools Golang tutorial. What I'm planning on doing is trying to finish up, not all of it today, but we're going to finish this up, and then one of our people last week, last Friday, I believe, sent me some links for like examples on how to do things like creating a Go web server or what have you. So ideally, what I want to do is, hello, Standard Air, how you doing? Um, Glad you could join me today, and thanks to She Networks for being awesome and hooking us up with that, with the raid. I appreciate that. Um, so let me see, where have I gotten to? Let's see, switches. Did we get to switches? No, we did. We did loops. Okay, we got loops. Functions. I think we did some functions. Boy, I hope I've got those. Let me see, functions. I think I may have started it. Okay. So we're going to turn on a little music here. Yeah. Make sure that I'm not blasting y'all out with the audio mixer here. Oh, y'all can't see and hear that anyway. Okay, that's not what I wanted. There we go, pop player. Shrink that up a little bit. Just gonna put on a little music so that way we can just chill a little bit. Open Earl. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. Oh, Beta Wolf. Yeah, we've gotten to, I think, the functions part where we were talking through some of these items. I'll have to go through and let's see. I want to maximize this screen. It's kind of bunched up, but and there's a Go update available, but that's all right. I'm not gonna deal with that one a little bit. But so how's everybody been? Welcome to all the new people. I do a Twitch stream on Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays more news and stuff, and we do interviews with people. Friday, trying to fill some space. So we're doing Golang right now, but we can also do interviews and stuff. And then Sunday nights, we normally do a podcast type stream with Miss Amanda Berlin and Brian Betcher, my co-hosts with the podcast. So go and check out our VODs. We're on we're triple casting this on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. So if you're wanting to hang out on any one of those, you can do that as well. But we have a number of different people looking at various things there. So go check out our website. You can also join our Discord. Bang, Discord. Make sure it works. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So let me just close that. Save. I might need that again before it's over with, so I'm going to go ahead and save that somewhere. Okay. Yeah, there's digital word. All right. So I don't have functions and anything, so we'll go ahead and do the functions. Nice. Hope that's not too loud for everybody on the audio there. Let me know if it is, and I'll turn it down. All right, so functions. I seem to remember we did talk a little bit about this the last time, but we'll go ahead and go back through it a little bit. Functions are not executed immediately. They're saved for later use. They are executed when called. So they're almost like a little program inside the program. So like a sub program inside the program. You might have seen these. I think a lot of programming languages have functions. I can't imagine that there's a programming language that doesn't. So, this is another one here. So save that as well. I'll pop that into loop somewhere. Pull that out later. All right. So function can be called multiple times. So if you look at this one, to give you some idea, we have package main. We're going to import FMT. For those of you who are new to Golang, FMT is like, I don't want to say the linter, but it formats the scripts in such a way so that it makes it more readable. You might see that. Let me show you here. So when you run FMT, it will do things like put the things on the right lines and put the curly brackets in the right places and what have you. So what it's doing here is there's a function called myMessage with parentheses parentheses, and then everything inside of the the curly brackets will get executed. So in this case, it formats, it prints a line called I just got executed, and then you can call the function by saying function main, and then inside function main, which is where everything happens, where all the fun stuff happens. You pretty much call myMessage, and it just runs I got executed, I got executed, I got executed. I'm not sure. In this case, it doesn't save you time because you could have just put this line 3 times and then been done. But if you have a large function with several hundred lines, or you're calling that function from another place, then it will be useful to simplify things instead of copying the same function over and over and over in your script. So it helps with things like readability. makes it easier to debug, and you can see what's running at this point. You might also take input here. I think you can put some things inside of the area, so it's like, I want you to run this, but with this input. So you might have additional errors there, additional inputs there, like from a form or from output from another script, might be stored in a variable that will then be called. So naming functions. Sorry, I was just checking for my cat. Function names must start with a letter. Interesting. So this almost reads like a bad password. Bad password policy. Function must start with a letter. Password must start with a letter. Function can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Oh, that's a really bad password. No special characters at all. So, well, you got the underscore, but that's about it. Function names are case sensitive. Function cannot contain spaces. Thank God. Yes, we don't do functions with spaces. In that case, it would almost be like, I don't know what would happen if you created a function that had space in it. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and say this. I don't think that would work. That would definitely error out. So invalid type. So yeah, you see there's some kind of issues here when you're popping that up. Let me make sure everything's looking nice on the screen here. Okay. Yeah. Just want to make sure everybody can see what's going on in the bits here. So preview. Not starting with a number makes parsing easier. I can see that. I can see that, Walt. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean they have to have limitations, right? And you see these ones in like Java that are like half a meter wide here, where you're it's like, why is this function called that, or why is the variable called 1,500 things at one time? So we're gonna do an exercise here. I would do this in VS Code, but I think we'll have additional options down here as we're going along, like being able to create and call and parameters and arguments. So in this case, we're going to create a function called myFunction and call it inside of main. So in this case, we're going to go myFunction. And then we're going to, how you call it is myFunction. And you want that right there. Because as you can see, you're basically going to, so you almost have to treat the parentheses like part of the name on it. So you're going to have myFunction. You're going to submit the answer. Oh, I dorked that up. What did I do wrong? Oh, see, I got myself there. See, there you go. Submit answer. What did I do wrong again? Wait a minute. Did I spell? Oh, case sensitive. Look at that. Look at that. See? I forgot BR. Your spaces or tabs. What are you trying to do to me, Beta Wolf? We've got guests, bro. We got guests. You can't be like that. Come on, man. Be cool. Be cool. God, trying to start a holy war or something? There we go. There it is. Correct. So yeah, you have a function. You call the function. You have curly braces that just got executed, and then you're going to have, it has to be. It's case sensitive. So my smaller case function and my capital F function are completely different. And obviously, I'm betting Walt will tell me. Also for spaces, used to be tabs, now spaces. I'm not. Look, I've seen the little video from Silicon Valley. I'm not going there. We're not playing that game. You do you. Your company has specific ways on how code will work and will function. Some companies be like, Beta Wolf. Yeah, I mean, your company is going to have specific ways of doing things on documentation, on how code should be formatted. Hopefully, they're using things like linters or checks in the code to make sure that you're actually, doing everything correctly and following white space requirements. But it is what it is. So, all right. So, Go function, parameters, and arguments. Parameters and arguments. Information can be passed to functions as a parameter. So we know that. Examples of parameters are like when you typing in wget commands and you go -h. The -h would be a parameter. It's wanting it to execute the various bits there. Or you might do -i where it's including a URL, so google.com, something like that. So when you wget google.com, the parameter is you telling wget this is the parameter I want to pass it. So it tells wget, hey, include google.com in your web search or your web capture or whatever the damn thing is called. There we go. So what we see here, and I will go ahead and just start, I'll close that because I don't want to save that. So we'll create a language, go lang, actually let's go. And we're going to, go lang tutorial, call one called functions. Actually, I should have closed that and open up a new one inside of that. Call it functions.go. As I found out, having more than one main inside of one directory, Go doesn't like that. So that's why you're going to see errors here on these scripts, because I have multiple mains inside of the Go folder. So you can't. If you're going to have a Go script, you only have one main inside of that Go script. So that's why you see it here, and that's why I have like other ones where there's only one Go there. Thank you, Beta Wolf. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that. Thank you, Digital Warhead, for gifting Beta Wolf some stuff. Thank you so much. So here's functions, arrays, Go. All right, so we have syntax is going to be function, the function name, and then inside the parentheses, you're going to have parameters, types, ad infinitum. I'd imagine there's no limit to the number of parameters that you can create in here. And then inside of that, you're going to have the code to be executed. So functions with parameter variable, the following example has a function with one parameter called fname, first name in this case, fname, like you might pull from a form on a website. And the type is a string. So you see here where it says fname string. So up here in the top, it's going to tell you the parameter and the type. So in this case, it might be fname string. It might be you might have a variable name called number of carts, and that's going to be an integer because it's a number. You might have status, and it's a Boolean, true or false. So you'd have status and then Boolean or bool. There's 4 different ones you can have there. So there might be a text string as well. So like, that'd be string. So you have integer, string, Boolean, and data types. Let's go back up here real quick. Boolean, integer. Oh, float. Right. Yep. Thank you, standard error. You're absolutely correct. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yes, a float. So string, float, integer, Boolean. So those are the 4 data types that they know of. So. Yeah, I don't use floats a lot, or my brain does float in that case. So, all right, so we're gonna go package main import FMT, and that's the the formatter, so FMT format. Function family name, and that's I believe. Is it camel case? I think camel case is where you start with the single, the first letter is smaller and then the second word in it has an uppercase. Fname string, and then on FMT println, and then hello. So what this is going to do is it's just going to print a line called hello. Hello. Is it me you're looking for? Oh, wait. And then fname, and then refnezes. I I don't know anybody named Refnez's. Refsnez. Is it backwards? SENSF. Snefrsner. Yeah, no. I don't know what that word is. So we're gonna do single quote and do that. All right, and then we're closed there. We're gonna close the parentheses, and then down here we're gonna call function main because that's where all the work gets done in a script in a Go function. So we're gonna go family name, family name, and then in go lim. It's function, not fun. Are you trying to tell me it's fun C, not fun? Okay. Bring in the noise, bring in the funk. Is it FNUC like funk? Oh, you're right. My bad. Thank you. See, I don't need to actually be a developer. I just set up a stream, and then people will get on and will automatically do code review for me. And you know what? I think we might have figured out a new business line here. Everybody will join and be like, you screwed up on line 4. And I'll be like, okay, I write more secure code that way. So bring in the noise, bring in the funk. So we got funk main, lim. We got family name. Y'all laugh. I could probably be a developer that way. Just, show my code as I'm going rather than being a complete nightmare. Why do that much effort when you have yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you laugh, Digital Warhead. We were just talking about the that room temperature semiconductor, and one of the things they said is we look forward to taking our data, giving it to some kind of chat GPT kind of thing, or machine learning tool, and running it through and trying to find where it can actually be, find better versions, kind of like, back in old timey days when we all used to use folding at home, or, trying to search for aliens with, SETI or what have you. It's fun to cry, then not cry when it works. Yeah. All right, so we're going to Control S, and that saves, that's something we can, commit later. We're going to go Control Shift T. Oh no, wait. Let me see. Forget the shortcut for terminal. Oh, Control Shift till backspace. All right. So in the working directory, Golang tutorials, CD funk. There we go. And then we're gonna close that so we can all see what's going on here. Go run /func go. And then if we did it right, it'll say, hello, Liam Refnez, Jenny Refnez, and Anya Refnez. I guess the last name is Refnez. So first name Refnez? That doesn't make any sense. Should have been like last name, maybe. Like the last name was Refnez, and then the family name is Lim, Jenny, and Anya. So. All right. So you can also do multiple. It sounds like there's no shortage that you can do inside of parameters. You just have to keep making sure that, so like this one, they've added age int. So we're going to add age int. So int is an integer, of course. I'm assuming we're not going to do anything crazy, so we don't need a 64-bit integer or 32-bit for this case, because most everybody's going to age out around 130. So we just need age int, and then it's going to be like print hello, age is year old, first name, and then Refnez. So we're going to change this up, hello, and we're going to put age, year old, and then F name, and then Refnez. So there we go. Oh, F name, first name. Okay, I get it. Okay. F name in this case would be these folks here, so not Refnez. All right, so we're looking for lim, and the way they've got this in comma separated format, you might be able to find some way to import this in so that you're not adding these manually every time. I mean, at scale, once you get to about more than 10, you're going to have to put these in manually. It's going to get ugly and it's going to be weird. So your function main might be, you know, there might be another function up above where it's like, I'm going to pull in this CSV data and then I'm going to enumerate it somehow. So you'll put all that data into some kind of memory table somewhere and do that. But for this purpose and for the simpleness of this purpose, then we're just going to add necessary bits here. I appreciate everybody who's sticking around. I didn't know, you know, what everybody's talking about. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please let me know. I'm learning this, so if you're asking me, you know, wow, it sounds like he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, or you know, there's some things that are, you know, incorrect there, or you know, he should be doing X instead of Y. That's because I know nothing about Golang. So just managing expectations here, if you will. So. All right, so we're going to go ahead and save this because I think I've added everything. 3, 14, and 30. So Anya's 30, Jenny's 14, and Lim is 3. Hello, age, year old, FN name, Refinez. F name is string, age is int. There was no other changes to it at this point. Okay. And so I will save that, and then I can run it again, and we'll get... You know, we're basically formatting text. So, you know, this is all great if you're going to a website and it's like, hello, 3-year-old Liam Refinez. You know, I'm probably, I'll figure out how to pronounce that later, but you know, it's probably some, yeah, refrain, maybe the S is silent, refrain. So there you go. Note, when you're working with multiple parameters, the function call must have the same number of arguments as parameters, and the arguments must be passed in the same order. So in this case, I can't put 3 here and lim and get rid of that 3. It will not work. You'll get an error message because it's looking for the first thing to be a string, and it's going to evaluate a string as 3, and that is incorrect. So it's looking for something in double quotes because, as we know, things in Go, as we saw in the data types here, your strings have to be in double quotes. Your floats have to have a period. Your integers must be one number and preferably within a certain range, negative or positive. And Booleans must always be true or false. There's no other options there. So all right, so we're going back to parameters and arguments. Yes, I bet. So when a parameter is passed to the above function, it's called an argument. For the example above, f names the parameter. Okay, so I was wrong earlier about the wget thing. The -h is the argument. So these are arguments that are added, and the f name is the parameter. So I don't know how that would work. Okay, multiple parameters. All right, so we're going to go next. We'll see if we need this again. So return values. If you want the function to return a value, you need to define the data types of the return values such as int, string, etc., and also use the return keyword inside the function. So the syntax for this is you got your function, you know, func. You got your func function name, parameter type, parameter2 type, and then another type. Interesting. All right. So the function name. Okay, so func, my function, x is an int, y is an int, and then the return value will also be a number, is what they're expecting. I'm imagining at some point they're going to say, well, you know, you can also do x, and, you know, if, you know, the variables or the ints come up as something else, you can say it's true or false. They're like a logic thing, but I'm guessing that's where your if statements and things would come in. All right, so I don't want to create a new Go script, so I'm just going to use what is in here. So just assume that we've created a new script with image pack, function, my function. So I'm going to create another function up top called func, my function. And this works because, you know, there's no other my function in this system. So go x int and y int. And then we're looking for an int in the func. Bring in the noise, bring in the func. Return x plus 1. Oh, it should not be a capital X. It should be a lowercase x. All right, so that's our function, our new function, according to this. And then down here under main, we're going to add fmt print. So, you know, instead of the function printing it now, we're just going to have the variable do it. So we're going to go function main. So I don't need to add this. I just need to make sure everything is still inside the curly brackets. So I'm going to go fmt print line in this case, and then my function 1, 2, and then make sure you put in the proper right of nested bits. Beta Wolf, I can't wait to get back on the Golang learning train. Had to stop and go back to Python for a bit for a work thing that was rough. Okay. So for those of you wondering why I'm not doing Python, I think the original issue was there's a lot of new tools that bad guys are using, like malware, that's going to run and go, because Python, there's a bit of extra doing that has to be done so that it will be cross-platform compatible. Whereas in Go, a lot of the stuff that like if you compile like these Go scripts or Go functions, you can immediately compile them for Linux or for OS X or for Windows without additional downloads or whatever. So that is one of the reasons I was like, Go doesn't sound completely awful. And you know, I've tried to learn how to use Python in the past. I've gotten numerous tutorials on, you know, learn Python the hard way. I've watched YouTube videos. It's just not grokking to me. And as much as I'm loath to admit it, to be a security person in this day and age, blue team or otherwise, does take a little knowledge of scripting languages and programming. I don't like it. I didn't come from a programming background. You know, if you come from compliance or whatever, it may be less of a requirement. But if you do things like blue team, or you want to automate stuff, or you know, God forbid you're in dashboard hell and you have to create metrics for things, and you want to create like SQL queries or whatever. You know, a lot of times it's going to be up to you to be the one to create the freaking dashboards. You know, and sometimes they want to look something pretty. They don't want it in a spreadsheet. So, I don't like it, but it is what it is. And you know, I'm at a point in my career where it's like I'm not going to be generating Golang stuff for that, but you know, it is what it is. Oh my goodness! Oh my God! More people! Hello, more people! Welcome! Hello, Gar7. How are you? Thank you so much. Come and hang out with us today. Oh my goodness! It is a banner day. Wowzers! Hello, Finn with Gun. How you doing? Thank you for coming out. Thank you, Gar7. I don't know you, but I will be following you very shortly, Gar7. Appreciate that. And we have a moderator online, so thanks, Gar7. Let's go follow Gar7. Followed Gar7. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's go see Gar7 real quick. Let's give Gar7 some props up in here. There's Gar7. Okay, follow Gar7. There's a link. It's okay. It's all good. Y'all need to all hang out with all of them. Make it something, you know. Enjoy Gar7's VODs and what have you. So, and for She Networks folks as well who came in, you know, follow Gar7 over there as well. Why aren't your noises Star Trek related? Those cost money, man. And the last thing I need is a C&D, Beta Wolf. Last thing I need is a C&D. Yeah, so for those of you following along, the music you're hearing is from Chill Hop Radio. Some of the jazzy and lo-fi hip-hop tunes that I like to use when I'm at work. And my hacking isn't like, you know, 120 BPM. So that it is what it is. So... smooth lo-fi chill. All right. So I've done that. I will save this. So now we can do that. And we'll run that again. Oh, too many arguments in call to family name. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. So let me see. Oh, that's because I did not clean up my code earlier when I was showing the example. So it should work now. Yeah, there we go. Ding, 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 ding. All right, so x plus y is 3. I don't know why it's 3. I don't remember. Oh, okay, that's because the functions are 1 and 2. So x is 1, y is 2. They're both ints, so it's going to return an int called 3. Huh. I wonder what would happen if I made it a float. Would that work? Let's go see. Oh, look at that. I got squiggly lines under here. What does that mean? Float compiler, undeclared name, view problem, no fix available. All right, so float compiler. You know what? Let's just do it anyway, just for s and giggles here. Okay, so yeah, the float hasn't been defined because I guess if one is an int, another's an int, it's going to be, they're all ints. They're all integers in this case. So I wonder. No, I can't do that. What I'd have to do is I'd have to change int to float, integer to float, and then I'd have to make this like 1.0, 2.0. And then I think it would probably work. So let me go ahead and grab that. Put that here, that here. Should work. Okay, Control S. No, undefined float. That's interesting. Not sure what I'm doing wrong there. I did do that right? It is float. Yeah, okay. Yeah, float 32. My bad. I bet it's float 32, not float. Straight up float. Okay. There we go. Okay, that's what I did wrong. There it is. That worked. Okay, so yeah, but it still gave a 3. It did give an integer back, which is interesting. Your return type syntax is slightly. See, I told you, Beta. I told you, Walt. Is like, this is a business line. I could just be coding all day, and then people would come in and tell me where I got something wrong, and it'd be solid, you know. Anyway, let me move these all back in. So I wonder. Streamers use movie sound effects all the time. Fire up Audacity and fire off some FreeS. I could definitely give that a shot. Digital Warhead. I'm not against putting in special effects and stuff. I want to try this again because I'm wondering if the float that I put in didn't have float 32 and that's why it didn't work. So let me give this a shot once again here. Okay, so you cannot use as x and y as an int as float 32 value in return for statement. Okay, so it has to be the same across the board, it sounds like. You just want to hear the Star Trek whistle every time someone follows. Okay, I will look at the Star Trek whistle. Okay. Yeah, I can get that. I can get some of those things, Beta Wolf. I can update my sounds and make that happen. I actually picked those off of Stream Elements, so that was one of the who subscribed and what have yous. So holy crap, I've got people like watching me now, not just our normal 5 or 6 people. I mean, welcome all to the new people. Appreciate that. Catch our streams, our VODs on. We're actually triple streaming this on LinkedIn and YouTube. So. It's all very much the same across. So you have options if you don't want to use Twitch. So I've been doing that for a while. This thing basically. Why am I clicking on random links from people in my chat? just randomly clicking on things. Oh my hell. Okay, I forgot. Yeah, that's old school. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, I will grab that Beta Wolf. Thank you so much. I'm a big Star Trek fan, mostly the original series and TNG and DS9 and Voyager. We're waiting for Picard to be over so we can watch it finally. I think we got through about half of season 1 before we went back to it. I hear that it's great and the ending is great because we've got folks that are on Star Trek themed cruises with us. I heard you can, with Picard, you don't even need to watch season 1. It's almost self-contained by itself. So 2 and 3 are pretty much, you know, and I heard season 2 has some wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. So, you know, there's some stuff there. But good cast, met a good number of them. John Delancey, I've actually was on a cruise with him. I think I mentioned this to you, Beta Wolf, Cruise Trek. We've been doing that for like the past 20 years. And they go all over the world. Anyway, go back to functions, parameters and arguments. All right, so function returns is what we're going to. All right, was there anything else there? Returned named values. Okay, we did that. Okay, store the value in a variable. Okay, so here's what we want. You can also store the return value in a variable like this. So what we're doing is function my function, xint, yint, result int. Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. So there's another open parenthesis result int. Cool. Okay. And then result of x and y, and then you take that result and return. Just return. Okay, so that's the func my function, and then down here we're gonna put some walruses in. So total, so the total, we're gonna put a new line down here. Total, we're gonna use a walrus function. For those of you who are unaware of what the walrus is, Go and some newer programming languages, the walrus automatically evaluates what the variable type is by what comes afterwards. So if it was a text, it would be hi, that's text. If it was true, it's Boolean. If it's an integer, it'll be 3. And if it's a float, it'll be like with a period. And Go can evaluate that when it goes and formats all this. So total, and in this case, is going to be my function 1, 2. And since this is an int and that's an int, the total is going to evaluate itself out to be whatever 1 and 2 are. Oh, spelled function wrong. So it'll be a 3, so it'll know that it's an integer. And because the results is also an integer. So the variable is evaluating itself as an integer at that point. And then print len total. All right. And then presumably you can call total further on down. You know, it's 3 right now. It will forever be 3. And this is where you'll get back into some of the other conditions where we were not conditions, because there's where we'll be doing things like case functions, or we'll be doing loops, for loops, while loops, those things. So you could call the total later on again and you know, work with it as you will. So, all right, that should work. Println format total walrus my function 1, 2 should be fine. All right, so there's 3 again because it evaluated it out to 3. And now if we did if we looked at what total was, if we, you know, we're printing what the value of total is by here, so that's why you're seeing the 3 number. And then it's obviously total is now being stored in memory as total equals 3, and you can refer back to it when you want. Beta Wolf, yeah, I want to go, but I hate cruises. It depends on the type of cruise. Hey, Digital Warhead. Twitter's gotten good about removing copyrighted music from VODs. I was watching a VOD with the music in the background. Twitch was able to remove the music but kept the voice audio. It was really cool. Oh, Standard Error. You do have a bug. Oh, no. Where? Oh, line 12 and 13. Line 12 and 13. Okay. Let's see. Check. Quick fix. Remove. Why is that? So to be fair, Standard Error, I don't want to say I'm just following orders, but this is what they gave me for the function right here. So I don't want to say I'm following orders, but as a noob, That is what they're telling me. And we have seen other errors in the doc. Line 13 is never reached. Huh. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. I'm an idiot. There you go. Thank you so much for that. It's interesting because it still runs. It still ran. That was really interesting. So yeah, somehow I got return instead of return. So yeah, really odd how it still managed to work. So all right, let me go back through and give it another shot here. Oh, expected an X at the end of statement. Oh, yeah, results equals. Yeah, I'm not sure why all that worked. It's interesting why that didn't work the way it did. The output's still the same as when it was said return, so that's interesting. Maybe you can. So I had return here. Is that a shorthand that I have missed? I don't quite. Hey, X Marto, it worked because you returned. Okay, so it's a shorthand. They're teaching you one method, but that's interesting. Okay. All right, so the more correct answer, and I didn't parse this in my brain. I must have somehow overlooked it or typed in something wrong there. But instead of setting result to 3 and then return result, okay. And then so yeah, everything still worked, which, man. So this is how bugs would happen. It's like, maybe I did it one way that allows a buffer overflow, whereas, doing it another way, or, a simple error like this, it still ran. It just did not run as expected. So very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Okay, so the above example can also be written like this. Here, the return statement specifies the variable name. So you can also add return result. Except I can't type with... That's an old joke. With one hand. And that still works. I don't know. Would that be... So is this the more correct way of doing things? The more secure way of doing things? Could there be a way for us to extract function? That would make sense if I actually knew what they were talking about there, but so you can function my parameters. We're going to store that in a variable. Return multiple values. I'm going to go ahead and remove that because it works. Instead of setting the result to 3, then return result. Okay. Worked because you returned in line 12. Okay. So yeah, it sounds like there's like a shorthand for this, right? Where you didn't actually have to add that additional line. It was understood that return would do that. Very interesting. Okay. All right, so we're going to return multiple values this time. Go functions can also return multiple values. Here, my function returns one integer result and one string, text 1. So we have function, my function. So function, my function, x int, y is a string. We're going to have issues with this, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste this, Control C. See, what I want to do is I don't want to have to create a new Go, but I guess it doesn't really matter much. I can go, let me just do that. New file. Don't do this normally, kids, but I don't know what'll happen if I change all these functions and it errors out, and it's like that's not exactly how it's supposed to be planned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my package main and my function goes and put those in there. Close this one. All right, so we're gonna continue on down here. I guess I can grab my function bits, move those over. All right, so function, my function, x int, y string. and then result int, and txt1 is a string. Okay. Let me close that so we can see what's going on here. All right, so the result is x plus x. And oh, that's capital X. And then sorry, I've heard this song more than once, you can tell. All right, world, and then double quotes, and then return. So the result equals x plus x. So in this case, 5 is going to be what the value of x is. So 5 plus 5 should be 10. And then y is hello. So y is going to be, y plus world. So it'd be hello world. So it should say 10 hello world. Yeah, because we're not doing a new line. It'll all be on the same output. All right, and then return, and then all right, so in function main, we have print line, my function 5, and hello. So we have, it'll say 10 y, all right, which we'll see. Now what you'll see is you'll probably see the main up there cause all kinds of issues because we have more than one main in the system. But all right, so go functions 2. Oh god, that's a hot mess. Okay, what do I got here? Line 6, unexpected main, expected. Oh wait, closed the wrong one, didn't I? There we go. Okay, so line 6. Functions 2.go. Okay. Expected blank at the end of statement. MFT, function my function x int y string, result int tx1 string. I wonder if this is some of the heartburn from the previous main that's going on. Let's see there. There we go. Give that a shot. Nope. Well, we're getting there. That was one less thing. Unexpected. Well, no, I need to nest these bad boys, so function main fmt println my function. Okay, that's correct. 5 and hello. Curly braces, curly braces. Wondering if it's the additional function in here because it's coming up with all kinds of errors that might be based on that. Delete this one. All right, I don't need that information. It's not like no cancel. Right bastard. All right. Control S. All right. Okay, so we have one less error now, I think. All right, syntax error, unexpected main, expected. Import fmt function my function. All right, you know what? I'm gonna type this mother again. So bracket. By the way, if you want more viewers, it might help to change your category to software and game development. If I didn't get here in a raid, I would have never found your stream. Yeah, the one thing I don't like about Twitch is sometimes I just want to chat and there's no real like security tags or security channel. And I didn't actually think about game development, but yeah, you might be right there. I don't really consider this software and gaming development because, you know, it's just, you know, jackass with a, you know, an IDE. So, but there, I did change up the type. So we'll see what happens on that. So result equals x plus x. Okay. Really weird. I don't have the shift on my Cherry, but I got a scroll lock or something going on here. Must have a scroll lock somewhere. Anyway, all right. txt1 y plus world bang return. Okay. Func main. Squiggles. FMT. Pranlin. My function. 5. Hello. All right, so typed it all back. Save. Yeah, see, it works now. The only thing, so there's a couple things that either happened there. It was probably the earlier functions.go that might have caused some issues, like, you know, the additional main, expected, unexpected main kind of issues. Hey, Finn with Gun. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know why I was getting those kinds of errors. The only thing I could assume is I had more than one main in my folder, and as we found out, Go does not like having multiple mains inside the folders there. So I found that out quite a long time ago. Like, I have multiple Go's inside of one folder, and I thought, oh, it'll just be fine. I'll just have a different. Yeah, each one has a main, and it doesn't like that a lot. So, but yeah, it super doesn't like that a lot. All right. So, hello. Yeah, let's turn the hello to go off. All right. So this one worked. Functions main. It worked as expected. And then, you know, down here, they're exploring an example. Hey, Hawks fam. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you, Finn. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Finn. Have a good rest of your day and weekend. So, example, we want to omit the first returned value, result, which is stored in variable. Okay, so let me understand. If we, for some reason, do not want to use some of the returned value. Oh yeah, we talked about this last time. The underscore omits the value. So, all right, let me pull this functions2 down. So it's in my directory over here on my desktop, but cannot be seen. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because it feels like we're going to have additional issues if I try to undork this. So functions3.go, not to go. Jeez. All right, there we go. Functions3 go. All right, so we've already done import function main. Grab that. Pull that over. Let me see. Func. My function. X int. Y string. Result int. one string. And then result equals x plus. Okay, now it's back. It was weird. It was in some kind of function lock for the plus and the equals. So txt1 equals y plus world return. Okay. Func main underscore. So if you want, God, man, shit. Oh, you're killing me. All right, underscore means ignore the first variable, I guess. Hey, Beta Wolf. All right, you have a good one. Make sure you get packed. And take it a bit at a time. But do what you can. All right. Have a good night, sir. And then B, and then we're walrusing it up real sweetly right there. My function. And then 5. Hello. All right. And then FMT, println B. All right. So what it's telling it to do is ignore the first variable, so xint in this case, and 5. So the only thing it should print is, like it says here, hello world. So I need to save this, and what you see is now it's all formatted properly. Let's double check result. X equals x, text1 equals y plus world, return, func main, k underscore, right, b, walrus, my function, 5, hello, fmt, println b. All right, so that should work. Just have to change this to function 3. Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, capital L. See? It's the little things that get you in the end, don't it? The little things. Hello world. There you go. All right. Very cool. I think I can probably go another 20 minutes or so. Maybe we can get through some of the structs and the maps. I have no idea what maps are. They mentioned them earlier in this tutorial, I think under arrays and slices. Arrays and slices are very similar to one another. You can do more with slices than arrays. The Go folks actually suggest using slices over arrays. At least that's the discussion that we had seen at one point. And so maps, slices, and arrays are all kind of in the same family, is what I understand. So we'll see what we can get to on the structs and all that. So, all right. So recursion is going to be the next one. Recursion is usually a bad thing, isn't it? Go accepts recursion function. A function is recursive if it calls itself and reaches a stop condition. Function is recursive if it calls itself and reaches a stop condition. It almost sounds like when you're looping things through, and if the conditional is like if x equals 5, then do something different, or continue doing this loop until x becomes greater than or equal to 7, and then do something else, or terminate in this case. In this following example, test count is a function that calls itself. We use the x variable as data, which increments with x plus 1, right? Every time we recurse. The recursion ends when x variable. Ooh. Okay, there you go. So it's almost like a loop, but it's a function loop for all intents and purposes. All right. So let me save this thing. Close that. Let me move functions 3 down. Maps let you use strings instead of numbers for the keys. Oh, thank you, Walt. I did not know that. All right. All right, so I copied function 3 down. Let me delete functions 3. New file. Recursion. Recursion.go. So package main. Import T. func test count. X int curly bracket, excuse me, if X is equivalent to 11, so that's a little different than if X equals 11. If the value of X is 11 instead of the variable X being 11, at least that's how I read it. I look forward to your comments. Return 0. So in this case, 0 is would be false at this point, I think. Yes, 0 is false, 1 is true. And then 1 down here, the test count would be the number that you want there. All right, so okay, next FMT. All right, there. All right, got that. Return test count. Let me see. How long have you been so standard error? How long have you been programming, and what other languages do you know? I'm not sure that's an insult or not. I'm reading that in my head as like, God, how long have you been programming, bro? No, I don't program, to be honest. I'm a technical program manager, 20 years in InfoSec, mostly vulnerability management and compliance type stuff. I've always been trying to learn languages. I don't know if it's my mental state or my brain or whatever. I just can't grok them, and I've never worked in a job that has required a ton of coding needed. And I keep hearing that it's one of those things that if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And I've tried learning Python the hard way. I've tried numerous tutorials for Python, for Ruby, and what have you. No, it's all good, standard. I'm only taking it in the way that you meant it in this case. But yeah, I see more as people are coming up in, being fresh in InfoSec. They already know languages, and it's good that I'm a manager, somewhat of a manager, pretty much a senior IC where I work, because I couldn't keep up with them from that point of view. So one of the things that I've always wanted to kind of do, and Walt and Beta Wolf and our moderators, Lady P, Lady Parabellum, and others, we're just, I wouldn't say filling time, but there's other folks out there probably trying to learn a programming language as well. And Go doesn't seem completely awful. So, just decided that, instead of trying yet again to try to learn Python, maybe I learn Go. I've already tried Ruby, already tried Perl way back in the day, probably before some of the people on this stream was alive. And so I was like, let's try to learn Go. It's somewhat memory safe from what I gather. It's being used by malware people to create, executables that are, clean and cross-platform. And I was like, it can't be awful. There's a lot of people using it. And there are some use cases. Like I found a Go Discord bot, and I was like, oh, well, that might be something I could code up once I get a basic understanding of how all this stuff works. Or, we can go to GitHub and find a Go application and maybe do some code audit on that. Like what y'all are helping me with right now in code audit. It's like, oh, you missed something over here on line 12. We'll be doing that on maybe some GitHub stuff. And there's numerous tutorials on there, like how to create a web server with Go, or creating APIs or whatever. There's numerous links that I've found that I've got available for that. So, sorry, but in a nutshell, not so small a nutshell, that's where I'm at. I would say I have several years of attempting to learn how to code, but I don't have any real knowledge. I mean, when I first started doing this, I started using the GitHub properly, and using a proper IDE like VS Code. Beforehand, it was all like Notepad and shit. So, func main. So that's why I say, for the 22 odd people here or others that are lurking, don't hesitate to ask questions, because I probably don't know either, but we can find out together. That's the important thing. And this is a pretty decent tutorial if you want to learn like 100 level or even 99 level in this case. I mean, it starts you out in a pretty good place from W3 schools, and they have other ones too. Obviously, they have Python and Java and PHP and something called Bootstrap and some SQL stuff. It's all free, so you're not going to break the bank on that. That was the other thing. I was like, whatever I do has to have a low barrier of entry for everybody. So if you pick up our VODs on YouTube or wherever, and you're like, hey, I want to learn Go too, the VS Code is free, the plugins are free, the website is free, and there's always other stuff to learn there. Standard error. One of the reasons I asked about languages you didn't know about maps, if you knew Perl, you could have said it's a %hash. So I did Perl in about a year in 2000. So just to give you an idea on where I was in Perl back in old timey days. So one of our guys was building out a web application at the time using things called portlets, which would have been like iframes or whatever, but it was a dynamic website using Perl in like certain areas of the page would load or change based on that. He was actually creating what everybody knows now is like an Ajax or like Google Docs, where you go in and you can update something and everybody sees it immediately. He was creating like an asynchronous kind of application even before that existed, which was kind of cool. Kim, man, I haven't remember Kim. It's been a while since I remember his name. Wow. So yeah. Anyway, so we've got func main, test count, return test count x+1, fmt ln. Okay, just making sure everything is good before I save this. Not what do you Control D for? Control S is the save function. So we're gonna do recursion.go 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. There you go. And it stopped. It terminated. Returned 0. Okay, so maybe I'm getting it wrong. Function doesn't have any value used when the void return type. Golang. Oh, and this is not the only place you can go for Golang tutorials. Go.dev has some good stuff as well. So I was just trying to see if I could figure out why it would say return 0 on these things. I thought it meant true, but it's going to continue iterating through until it hits. If x equals 11, then return. It will go, I guess, until it actually hits 11, and then it's going to terminate. So much like a loop, like we had mentioned. So recursion is a common mathematical and programming concept. This has the benefit of meaning that you can loop through data to reach a result. The developer should be careful with recursion functions, as it can be quite easy to slip into writing a function which never terminates, or one that uses excessive amounts of memory or processor power. However, when written correctly, recursion can be a very efficient and mathematically elegant approach to programming. In the following example, _recursion is a function that calls itself. We use the x variable as the data, which decrements -1 every time we recurse. Recursion ends when the condition is not greater than 0, i.e. when it is 0. So in this case, we should be fairly safe adding that function to this. I'm going to have to call it x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this x1 and y1. That way we don't dork it up a lot. So func, bless, man. Factorial recursion. And then x1 float 64. Oh my goodness, that's going to be a big ass number, y'all. Y float 64. if x is, so if x is greater than 0, because the alligator mouth is wanting to eat the x instead of the 0 because x is going to be bigger than 0, y equals x times factorial recursion x minus 1. Okay. Else y equals 1. And close that and then return. So let me double check that. If, x1, all the x's need to be x1, all the y's need to be y1. There we go. There we go. That way we don't mess up anything. Because I need to call something different up here versus something down here. Because once you've assigned x to a specific type, you can't change it as it goes on down. Recursion is great if you don't blow your stack. Endless loops in recursion tend to run out of stack space. Well, that makes sense, Walt. That's a good point. Good point for everybody to remember. I would imagine you want to be very careful if you're running it on, say, something with limited memory, like an IoT device or something like that. I wouldn't say you run Go or something like that in this, but you could make a mistake, and that causes a lot more issues than it's worth. So x1 minus 1, y1 equals 1, return. All right, and then we need down here, we need to go FMT. I have a feeling this is not going to go as well as I had planned. Oh, okay, so wait. Factorial recursion 4. Okay, so what I'm trying to understand is the result is 24. So I need to understand why the result is 24. If x is greater than 0, and it is because x is going to be 4. Jesus. Okay, so else y equals 1. 4 times 3. 12 times 2 is 24. Times 1 is 1. Okay, so x is going to be 4. So 4 times the factorial recursion of x minus 1 in this case. So x minus 1 is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then it's going to reiterate again and say, so 12 is greater than 0. So it's going to be x times the original factorial minus 1, which is 2. So 12 times 2 is 24. Then it's going to go through one more time. 24 times factorial recursion of what is now 2 minus 1 is 1. So 24 times 1 is 1. So that's why you're going to get 24. Ding. Oh, thank you, standard error. Sorry, I'm on 2 different screens. So yeah, your math is correct. I wasn't. Yes. Anyway. Standard error. X and x1 are local function arguments. You should be able to reuse x in another function without any problems. Okay. Well, I know that I had issues in previous, like when I was doing, some of these other ones with comments and everything, where it was like I needed to do something different. Maybe not necessarily with functions. You're probably right in that case, but let me save this bad boy. Okay, now I can run this. It should still say 1 through 10 and 24. So it technically still worked. I just didn't want any kind of confusion between func test count and func factorial recursion. So, yeah. All right. So, I mean, that worked. Yeah. What standard error said worked as well. I didn't need to put X1 and Y1 in here. I just, it's my own little peccadillo there to try to keep things from not sucking when I'm trying to do something live with folks. I will say that, so for those of you who are still here, I appreciate y'all. It's like, when you go to a conference and somebody says, oh, I'm going to do a demo and I'm going to do it live. And then they get in there and they find out shit isn't working. And then it's like, you can feel the swamp ass kicking up and you're like, ooh, yeah, I feel bad for that guy or that person not getting, not making that happen on right. And that's like me a lot here. So, you know, it is what it is. Get used to that. But yeah, thanks for the visual representation there, Standard Error. Appreciate that. That makes sense for everybody else. Struct, short for structure, is used to create a collection of members of different data types into a single variable. Wow. Okay. While arrays, getting to bring an offer to the demo gods. Right. Well, I mean, if I ever did a live demo at a conference, the first thing I would do is I would probably have my demo in video form, so that way I'm not trying to scramble to try to get that ish to work. And I probably wouldn't even try a live demo there. I would just do like what other folks do and just run the demo and just explain the demo as I was going through. But I don't have that ability here. I have to figure out why things are not working on the fly. So, yeah. Okay, so this is not a while array. This is while arrays are used to store multiple values of the same data type into a single variable. Structs are used to store multiple values of different data types into a single variable. Let me double check something here. Just wanted to make sure my preview was still good. A struct can be useful for grouping data together to create records. Oh, okay. So if like you want to, you know, crunch everything up and put it into a database, or a non-SQL database, or an S3 bucket, or, you know, spreadsheet. All right. So to declare a struct in Go, use the type and the struct keywords. All right, close this bad boy. Start up another one here. Structs.go. So the type, struct name, and a struct. Okay, member, data type, member 2, 3, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, if you will, member 1207. But I can definitely see how you would, you know, yeah, I can definitely see how this might be either it would be, maybe you could put it in JSON blob too, you know, depending on how you want to output this. But I can definitely see where you might take this and put it into a database with, you know, the member names being column names, for instance. Here we declare a struct type person with the following members: name, age, job, and salary. Notice that the struct members above have different data types. Name and job are string, age and salary are ints. And, you know, salary might actually be a float because it would be a period with 2 dots after the end. So it might come up as a float 64 or what have you. Access struct members. To access any member of a struct, use the dot operator between the structure variable name and the structure member. Oh, okay. Cool. All right, that makes sense. Oh my God. Okay, that's a lot to type. I don't want to bore y'all with me typing and pecking at keyboards and stuff. So what we'll do is we'll just go through this and walk through it. Let me. Normally I don't like to copy paste, but yeah, some of these are going to get fairly lengthy, and you know, I like to keep people engaged instead of sleeping while I'm trying to, you know, peck at stuff. So, and for given everybody's propensity for, you know, me, you know, typing things incorrectly, just you know, keeping track of that for everybody. All right, so what we've got here is we've got package main. We're going to import the FMT type person struct. So this is the structure that we're going to create: name, age, job, salary, ints and strings. The function main is going to var pers1 is a person, pers2 is a person, and here's the specifications for those people. We have age. Apologies if there's anybody watching this with the name of this, like hedge. Person's age is 45, so pers1 dot age. So pers1. Okay, that's interesting. Why? We have pers1 This person. Oh, I see. So okay, so pers1 person. So it's setting var pers1 equals to a person. It's going to use this struct. So ideally, if we had a different one in here, say, you know, person, we have, you know, animal struct with a name, you know, like age, job, and salary, and then pers2 was animal. Then, you know, you maybe have different data sets or different data types, and then you call pers2, and they're always knowing that pers2 is the animal struct, so it would always use this format for that. Does that make sense? All right, so we'll just going to delete and back out of all of the things that I put in there so it doesn't look ugly. These are remarks, so comments, you know, // you might see these in HTML and what have you. So pers1, it's looking for person.name. So pers1 is going to be, you know, so you can add as many as these if you want. Like I could put in here pers3 spec, pers3 name equals Brian, pers3 age is none you damn biz. No, wait, it's 43. I'm old. pers3 dot job TPM pers3 salary equals 160,000. And because it's an integer, you can't put the periods. So it would just be 160,000. And then I just need to put a var pers3 person up top. And you can continue doing that forever and ever and ever. And then, you know, obviously for FMT, you'd want to be able to add the table down here. It's going to be very modular, right? Every time you add a new person, you're going to want to go in. You'd probably copy paste this, you know, and then you put down here, you go, you know, pers4, pers5, pers6, pers7, pers12. Problem is this would get very unattainable to begin with. So you'd want to make sure that, oh, plus, you know, I haven't changed the pers3 stuff, so I need to. Okay. Spidey senses tingling. Okay. So, and that's it. So now what'll happen is I'm in here as well. It'll call and have all of this information as well as myself. So cd ... struct and then go run. Now, if you wanted to compile this into an executable, you'd like, you know, there's different commands for this, but the typical for this is just structs. Undefined TPM. What? Oh, duh. See, because it's a text, you have to put the bits around it. So that came up too. So there we go. There it is. So that works as planned. We walked through that. You can probably add anything you want. Like you could also add, you know, town. Yeah, town. And then that would be a string as well. So then you would have to go back in and add, you know, town pers1 town Boston, and of course you'd want to make sure you put these in quotes. Go ahead and just grab this, pull this down here. Chicago technically I can make that anything. I can make that, you know, moon base alpha or whatever, you know, just as long as it's in a proper format. Nobody gives a rat's. So, and then pers3 town equals Seattle. And then you'd have to add the town to all of these items as well. Town. Here. And then Control S, and then it worked. Huzzah! So yeah, now you see I've got it. Oh, whoops. Except, you know, probably the delivery manager would be like, why the hell is my database now corrupted because I didn't, you know, I didn't put the right towns in there and stuff. So that could be a very valid and bad thing. So make sure you do all your due diligence if you're going to copy paste code, as you can tell. So, what? Oh, I didn't save it. That's why. Okay. There you go. Now you got a town. Huzzah! Huzzah! So town, salary, job, and you can continue adding all those things. There must be an easier way than to make 3 variables and having to write 3 sets of. You know what? Standard error. I bet there is, and I bet they're about to tell us. I'm imagining that that's what's going to happen. Are you setting me up standard error for what maps are? I'm just seriously, I haven't used maps, so yeah, I would imagine there's a way to iterate through those things and do that where it's like you're not having to, you know, there's probably somewhere where you could, you know, state all of the variables in the list and then, you know, or use an array or a slice to say, okay, I want this, you know, this variable and construct it that way. Okay, it's not maps. All right. Yeah, I would imagine there's a way to iterate through like a slice or something like that where you go, okay, now I want this variable. Oh, okay, this variable is now pers dot, you know, string or slice 1 or slice 2 or whatever, and build it out that way. It takes somebody with more knowledge than I've got, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to when I'm actually starting to try to do things like with Go, and I have no idea how to develop them. So, all right. So you can also pass a structure as a function argument like this. So we're gonna continue using person struct. We have pers1, pers2. We've got all of our good stuff in here, and then print pers1 info by calling a function. Oh. Okay, so let me see. What do we have here? We have, okay, so I won't get rid of the town stuff or mine. We'll just kind of add it to the mess. So we have person struct, main func, pers1, pers2, pers3. All right, names with town, names with town. Print pers1, print. Okay, so we don't need the access and print pers1 info stuff necessarily. So maybe I can. All right, so I'll just funk, yeah, funk town, yeah, that's what it's funky town. Would you take me to funky town? All right, so // print pers1 info by calling a function. Print person pers1. Print pers2 info by calling a function. Print person pers2. And And then we need a squiggly line because that's probably why it was cracking out here. Yep. All right, so let's see where. Okay, so so in this case, we're putting the function below where main ends. So in this case, we don't have to worry about having the function at the top. So we have func print person pers person fmt print len name. That's bless. Pers.name. So they're iterating through kind of like what you had mentioned there, standard error. There must be a better way of doing that. Yeah, this is Walt. You're absolutely correct. So yeah, this is where we're gonna end up with but I have to get all of them. So we go pers name, pers age. Make sure we change the label name. Pers job. Okay. Pers salary. And then pers, I have to put pers town because that's also one of the datas that I created. So I've created more work for myself. Town. All right, so we did that right. Pers name, age, job, salary, and town. Oh, you know what? Case sensitive, aren't they? Yes, they are. I would have had an error right there, I think, probably, had I not have done that right. Pers person. Okay, pers person, salary, job, title, what have you. Okay, and so we should be able to save this and run it. Oh, I knew it. Okay, so what did we do wrong here? Line 76. Oh. Okay. I forgot there was a curly brace down below everything else, so that was a my bad. I have no idea if that'll. I'd imagine all the remarks and stuff will be fine outside of the original, so we'll see though. There you go. So, I mean, and you might fancy this up by adding, a new line or something at the end of one of, at the end of Pers Town or something where it's like, where you'll have spaces or what have you. I could very easily see this as being some sort of JSON blob if you were to put a, semicolons or something in here, and it would output it as a JSON format that could be easily ingested. Or, put it in a CSV. I mean, you've got a comma separated value here, so you could just, copy paste the output of this and dump your database. So I've created a database dumping script. All I just need to do is have the connection strings and stuff to put in here, and I could technically dump the database of whatever, looking for the right records and stuff. There's some more jiggery pokery that needed to happen here, but it's pretty cool that you can enumerate those out that way easily without any issues. To be honest, by the time you've typed in all this stuff, you've already done all of that. You've just, so it really didn't save much time. You still had to type out all these other things, but it is in a nicer format for people to understand. So it is what it is. Oh, it's time to go. I told my wife I'd be done by 4:45. Does anybody have somebody we can send? I'd like to share the love a little bit. Anybody got an online rater that is currently streaming that I can send this to? Let's see. Talk shows and podcast. Linus Tech. I don't know Linus Tech, but let's go ahead and send them over there. Strager? Okay, let's do that one. ST Rager. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. She Networks, Gar Sevens, Raiders folks. Gonna spend some time packing this weekend. We usually do this on Fridays, so if you come back on Tuesday, which is what I hope you will do, we'll probably do some InfoSec news. We'll probably talk about some leadership stuff because I'm still going through my Harvard class right now. Always looking. All right, Digital Ward, have a good weekend. And yeah, hope everyone has a good weekend and can take some time to deflate. Invalid username. STRAGER. Oh, STRAGER. It didn't work. Interesting. Copy. Yeah, that one didn't work there. So we'll go to Linus Tech. So I tried using the one you gave me, but it didn't work out. So. Or maybe I just... Oh, okay. I did it wrong. I had an @ sign. Fixed it. All right, everyone have a good day, good weekend. Take care, and be safe. So bye, y'all.